Hey, this is Mike. I want to welcome you to another episode of the Halftime Mike podcast. You know, it's all about being productive, keeping you going with the latest in digital marketing, digital tools, making you productive online. So, today I'm going to be flying solo and recording this via Periscope and on my machine here where I want to dive into web tools for remote worker collaboration. Okay, the web is changing and we're working with people more online now. It's just been a shift and it continues to be a shift. I got a stat here. Let me read this to you. According to an infographic from High Five, did a study, there was a 79.7% increase in the number of remote workers between 2005 and 2012. And that number just simply keeps getting higher and higher today. So what we have going on is a trend. So not everybody's in the same location, not everybody's in the same physical office. And I don't know about you, but that's been my trend over the last couple of years. We've went to more remote team working environments, and we've also worked with some contractors. And so that shift has been an important one for our business. It's enabled us to get some more programming talent that might not live locally to us, but it's also allowed us to do some creative filling in the gaps, finding some partners, some things that are out of state, out of country, those types of pieces. So I want to dive into today is the tools that I use for that type of collaboration, that type of communication. And so it's going to be me flying solo, diving into what tools work for me. Now, again, I might talk about some others that are related because I just chose mine. These are what work for me. There's others that are like them that might work for you. So let's just dive into web tools for collaboration and particularly remote worker collaboration. When I'm talking about remote worker collaboration, that can be either a full-time staff member who works out of their house part of the time, all of the time, and I'm kind of including under that umbrella, contractors, those who people are not full-time with you, may not be a employee on your payroll, but who do some regular work for you on a contract basis and need to communicate with them. So as I dive in, there's a couple areas. I mean, one of the areas is project management. All right, so you have projects that you need to work on with your team, and I'm going to tell you that mine's maybe not the most efficient process because I'm using multiple tools, but it's my process. It's the way we work, and until we find some other better way, this is what we like. So for project management, in-house in our team, we build a system. It's called our task system, and that's how we manage projects. And the reason we build our own is because it's tied into our proposal system. So we're a web agency, and you do large web projects. Not just you do some websites, but beyond that, it's web tools, and we bring in multiple pieces together. So we have the proposal, and the proposal is accepted. It goes into our project queue. The project queue is broken down into tasks. I can assign tasks to developers, and I know the status of those. I know how many hours they put into those. I know how many hours I've assigned for them to put into those. We can track the progress on projects and just kind of go back and forth that way. So that is with our in-house team, and we're a team of about 11, and we have, let's see, about 4 that are regularly in office. Okay, so that means 7 people are out of office, and a number of those are out of state. So we have people in Tennessee and Arkansas, so they're full-time out of state. We don't see them in the office at all on a regular basis, on a yearly basis. But the others, they're within some type of regional driving distance, so on occasion they are coming in, spending time with us. And so that's our project management tool. Now, I also have a contractor team that helps me a lot manage my content for clients. So digital marketing and content strategy, content posting, social media posting for clients. And for that team, we use Asana, A-S-A-N-A, and that's an open source project management tool with a robust free version. I just use the free version of Asana, and we have multiple projects going within there. So for each main tier, I can create a project, and then within the project I can create tasks, and within tasks we can assign dates, we can have comments, we can have collaboration there. And the reason I like Asana, again, web-based, also has a mobile app, so I can get on my iPhone, I can get updates, notifications, due dates, reminders, things like that. And it allows us to easily, has a number of tools, integrations. So for instance, we use a Google Drive integration, which leads me into, one of my tools, one of my primary tools for docs and files is the Google Drive system. So you're using that for a lot of things. So Sheets we're using for our content calendars for clients. Docs we're using for content drafts, so we can easily see a draft that somebody's written that we're going to put on a client's blog. We can review it there. We can make comments. We can edit it, so the final draft is going to be there. We can create reports in Google, whether we do that with the Keynote, or not Keynote, that's for Apple, but slides, and whether we do it in a doc, we can do all those things there. We can store the images that we're going to use in a blog post in Google Drive. So Google Drive is our vault for documents, files, for the content map, for a lot of the pieces that we want to refer to, and then the specific projects are broken down into Asana in the project management piece there for deadlines and specific assignments given out to individuals. And just to give you a little window on my digital marketing and content team, that consists of about 5 people. That's including myself. Okay, so I have someone based in California that is kind of my project manager, that oversees divvying out the tasks, oversees implementing things, is kind of the go-to person for coordinating it and making sure that client digital marketing pieces are taken care of, whether that's getting content posted, whether that's social media content getting posted, whether that is content writing, delegating content writing, or reports at the beginning of every month on the prior month's status, all and updating our content calendar, both for what we're doing on the Digital Hill side, the tab site side, the mygingerich.com side, or for our client pieces. So I have all of those things, and the digital marketing content side is all within that. One person overseeing that, making sure things are happening, and then others who are contracted for specific things, whether that is, and those are based, I have a couple people in the Philippines, and one in Croatia, and another one again in the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast, Eastern time zone. So West Pacific time zone, Eastern time zone, Philippines for 2 workers, and Croatia there in Europe, Eastern side. We cover all those pieces there. So that's the range of things. We make it happen, and the rest of the team, somebody is scheduling the blog post. So again, taking what's been finalized, putting it in, scheduling it out. Someone is creating social media posts based on those posts, responding, being aware of engagement, monitoring those pieces, watching Twitter, Facebook accounts, and another person is working with Facebook advertising, and another one is working with Google AdWords, display ads, and then with all within that mix, we make everything happen. Whether it's a landing page, whether it's a email nurture strategy, but again, we primarily use Asana as the base. That's where all the guts are, and then we keep all the files and documents that we need in the Google Drive system. And then for our communication, okay, and this is a little unique in that regard, but for our communication, we primarily use Skype with that team. Okay, so that Skype team. Now, again, I like Skype, but we also use Google Hangouts with the Digital Hill web developer side of things. Just kind of the way we've involved. Those are 2 very similar tools. I tend to be ready to adapt to what is helpful to the individual, and so that can mean that I seamlessly go back and forth between Skype and Google Hangouts. I don't mind either one. I don't necessarily prefer either one. On the developer side, we use Google Hangouts. On my content digital marketing side, we use Skype. And I like Skype and Google Hangouts both because they both have video, so we can do video collaboration, and we can connect with them. But they both also have mobile apps, and they both have chat features. So I have both of those on my phone, and I use the chat features a lot. Now, I will say that I use the chat features mostly. or most dominantly throughout the day. So that's kind of the key piece of the tool that I'm using is just the chat. So that's, texting back and forth in those chat systems there. And the video hangouts are more for the short meetings. So with my digital marketing content manager, we meet at least once a week typically, and in that weekly meeting, that is a video Skype. Also, then with my developers, I typically meet with them once a week for a short meeting, and that is done via Google Hangout video. So that's the methodology there. So we bring all those pieces together to make it happen. And again, I'm using a ton of free tools there. The whole Google Drive suite of tools. Now I will say that I did upgrade to the $1.99 a month, so I can move from whatever it is, 15 gigs to 100 gigs. I needed that extra gigs for all the storage of our items there. So I paid $1.99 a month for Google Drive. Obviously, I'm just using this free version of Skype, a free version of Google Hangouts with the video, and free version of Asana. So those are the key tools. Now, I know others use different tools for project management. Some, competitors in that space would be Basecamp. Some might move to a tool called Trello. There's a number of tools in the project management space. Asana has just worked for us, and the bright point is right. Okay, for communication, maybe you want to go down one way, Skype or Google Hangouts. That's fine. I should add to that with communication that one of my contractors is someone that I hired through Elance, which is now moving to Upwork, and so within the Upwork system, we often shoot some messages back and forth there on updating. If we're updating budgets on Google AdWords or those types of things, that's a tool and a method that we will use. And again, a lot of these will alert you. Let me think. So when if there's been a comment in a Google document, if there's been an update in Asana, if there's an update in Elance or Upwork when I'm working with them there, all those things are CC'd to your email, so you do get a copy of that, and you can even reply via email, and it updates in Asana, for instance. I really like that. Those are so email is not out of the picture. Email is just secondary, and I use email at times just to respond to things and update those pieces. But the guts, the core, is housed in these online tools. And for me, I think that we need to be thinking this way. How do we collaborate? Because when you're working remotely, the number one, hands down, critical element is communication. Communicate with me. I want people to be able to be proactive. I do like it that I can reach people quickly and easily with the chat feature. We're working on all kinds of time zones there, so it's not uncommon for me to be working with the folks in the Philippines, at my 8 p.m., which could be their morning time in the Philippines, or for instance, as soon as I get up, say 5:15 in the morning, and I'm kind of catching them at the end of their day, and so we'll do a little bit of back and forth with Skype at that point in time. With one of my other guys, a guy in Croatia, we Skype. Again, he's probably 6 hours generally ahead of me, and we will Skype just with the chat feature. He'll get to me something, and I'll get back to him. We're not always on the exact real time, but we use that to kind of keep track of pieces there. And I do like that because often when I'm out and about, I'm not often in the office when he's communicating with me, and so I need to use my mobile phone, my iPhone, and I do that, and I can update him, push things out quickly, we can update each other. So I like to be fluid in that communication. Communication is critical in remote worker collaboration. Now, one of the things that I find is that there's still, even though I can see everything in Asana, there's still some value in some good old-fashioned email reminders. So my project management for all the digital and online things gives me a weekly email of the status of things, where things are at, so I can get a big picture, take a look at this email, and see on all the different clients, all the different projects, our own content, where things are at in that strategy point. I can see what's needed from me and any issues that she's running into so that I could address those. So there is that weekly email. I value that, that is just a summary compilation to keep me on my toes. Um, Also with my uh, developers in the development team here, we've kind of created a process where at the beginning of the week, they give me an email which lists what they see as their 2 to 3 most important priorities in order of what they're going to be working on. So say they have 3 different projects that I've assigned to them at some point in time, and they're going to give me a little status update on where this one's at. I'm trying to finish this one, then I'm going to move on to this one. This is where this one's at, and then I also ask them, is there anything that any needs that they have, anything that they specifically want to make sure we touch base on. So that little summary is basically an outline. That's an outline for our video chat time that gives me a Kickstarter on saying, okay, this is what they see as their priorities. Do I agree with that? Is that what I'm thinking? And here are their needs. Let's make sure we address those. So it's kind of like a little quick summary. It sharpens them. They know what their targets are, sharpens me. I know what their targets are. We can agree on those when we have a video chat. Those come out, every Monday they do that, and it's a simple little email, but I find that that sets the tone, the stage. So that's kind of the overview of web tools for remote worker collaboration, how I go about it, and I think you need to be thinking about as you work with people, maybe they just have a day out of office, or maybe you have people that are totally out of the office. I mean, that's just going to continue to grow. You can get some great workers that way, and even with contract workers, maybe you don't need to hire somebody full time, but at 20 hours a week, they can get to what you need done, and so you let them do that, and you find out ways to communicate and collaborate, and that is something that we have found success with in over the past 2 years. We've really grown in that regard. Okay. And it started out of necessity. We weren't being able to find the developers that we need, so we began to take a look at a little bit more flexibility, which allowed us to open up the span. And one of our workers, as I said, Nashville, Tennessee, and so that helped us to be able to. He's only an hour time difference, so it works for us, but it allows him to have the life he wants, live there, and yet do work for us, and so I see him weekly because we have a video conference. We stay in touch with the projects and the task system, and for my team that is on the digital side, again, I needed to be able to keep costs down in some of my Google AdWords management, Facebook ads management, so it enables me to do that, working with some contract workers, those types of pieces. And again, finding the great person who is skilled and capable might not be right around you, and so this enabled me to find the people in California, in Washington, in the Philippines, in Croatia, that have the skills, have the talent that is needed to get the job done right, the way we want it done, to be able to support us in what we are offering, managing for clients. And that's key for me. It's about the right people in the right places, and the key in the remote process is communication. Okay, being able to find ways. I want them to be proactive and tell me what their needs are. I don't want reactive people that I have to pursue to say, is everything okay? What's happening? We have to have things in place where they know what's expected of them, what's expected to communicate, and what their next things are, what their tasks are, that we're all on the same page. And that's what Asana with Google Drive allows us to do. So Asana keeps the picture out there, what those assignments are. Our task system for the developers keeps that out there, and then we can use the chat, the video chats, the communication pieces, and the Google Drive system there for the files, the needs, the different pieces. So that's what I want to offer you today in this Halftime Live podcast. I want you to leave here thinking about, are there tools I need to check out? Are there ways of communication that I'm not using that I might want to? If I'm only using Google Hangouts, should I take a look at Skype, or vice versa? If I'm not using any of those, should a chat tool be added into the mix for our team collaboration and communication? If you're not satisfied with your project management tool, or you need a new one, should you take a look at Asana? I can recommend that one to you. And we went through a number of ones. I've used Basecamp with some others, but settled here, feel comfortable with these tools. And again, the key is finding what works for you, what you're comfortable with, what they're comfortable with. I am, kind of a tech geek, so I can flow pretty fluidly throughout multiple pieces, multiple different software pieces, why it doesn't bother me to use Google Hangouts and Skype together. Some people would say, "No, you just need to use one or the other." That doesn't bother me. And yes, so on occasion I use, Dropbox. I use that personally, but for client stuff, we kind of shifted to the Google Drive thing just because it works for us. So those are some pieces. What do you need to work well, to be effective, to have the best talent work for you? And these are collaboration tools all online. Things are shifting that way, so be aware of that. What do you need to do? Will it help your business move in that way? Think through those things. So this is Mike with the Halftime Mike Podcast. That's what I'm going to leave you with today. If you have questions, come on over to this episode and search for it, halftimemike.com. Come over to mikegingerich.com/podcast and leave me a comment. If you have any questions there, I'd be glad to answer that. So until next week, I am Mike Gingerich with the Halftime Mike Podcast.